In this lesson, we will share with you 7 things to consider on your journey to deepening your connections and fostering a nurturing learning environment for all your students. 1. Show up. Be a teacher your students can count on. And when you do, making sure you're aware of how you are actually showing up is pretty important. Are you showing up stressed, overwhelmed, and all about getting things done? Or do you show up happy, positive, and calm, balancing out getting the work accomplished while still connecting with kids? Trust me, you don't have to be their favorite teacher. You just need to consistently show up ready to teach, just like you want your students to show up every day ready to learn. 2. Be consistent, yet flexible. This, of course, is not a new idea. For decades, we've been talking about the importance of providing kids with consistency and structure. When we show kids with our actions that we say what we mean and we mean what we say, it creates a sense of ownership on everyone's part to think about their actions. It also gives your students a sense of predictability and safety that they can count on each time they enter your classroom. On the other hand, sometimes you need to think outside the box, have an open mind, or simply realize that even a 9-year-old might have a better way than your way. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you're wrong. It just may mean that getting to where you need to go is down a different path. Model for your students that flexible thinking is a social skill they'll need for the rest of their lives. 3. Cheer them on. Believe in our students, sometimes even before they believe in themselves, can have an enormous impact on their achievement. Students remember long after they leave your classroom whether or not you champion them to grow. As well, it's easy to point out the negative. After all, those are the encounters that bring us the most discomfort, and no one wants to experience that any more than they have to. And let's be real. Pointing out the mistakes of our students is part of the job of an educator. But when we only point out the negative, we unknowingly create an environment where the members grow unnecessarily anxious and uncomfortable. Students are less likely to take risks, and self-esteems plummet. In order to cultivate a positive classroom culture and climate, we need to make a conscious effort to acknowledge 10 positives for every negative. Recognize even the smallest of positive acts. Find creative ways to make celebrating the positives fun and engaging with recognition ceremonies, impromptu classroom celebrations, or by simply sending a note home to a parent or guardian. Recognizing the efforts, big or small, of all our students sends the message that you're aware of and value all their attempts to grow socially, emotionally, and academically. 4. Give students more than one strike you're out. Hey, look, educating kids is a walk in the park. Yeah, Jurassic Park. People, it's a jungle out there. How teachers do it these days is beyond me. Can't we just cut them some slack already? Unfortunately, that is not in my control. But what I can say is this. Just like you sometimes wish for administration or the Department of Education to get off your back, so too do your students when we get on their case about every little thing. I'm not suggesting that you let your students get away with breaking big rules. I am, however, suggesting that not every little infraction is going to bring the house down. Giving second and third chances to get it right provides you with the opportunity to maximize on those teachable moments. Hold them accountable, but do so while continuing to build the lagging skill until they get it right. Eventually, they will. 5. Be yourself. One of the best ways to get through to our students is to come from a place that's real, relatable, and realistic. Kids appreciate knowing that they're not alone in their struggles. When we're willing to show a bit of vulnerability with our students, enough to share our own SEL trials and tribulations, we create a human component that kids connect to. Your students will respect you more if you avoid acting like you're perfect. No one is perfect, so don't worry about having to be. As well, just like our students are not robots, nor are we. We will make mistakes. At some point or another, we will say or do something that is inappropriate, unkind, or insensitive. Unfortunately, there is little leeway for such human error in today's world, but keep in mind, you still have an opportunity to make a wrong right. When we admit to our students that we unintentionally lost our minds, our tempers, our patience, we let them into the secret world of teachers are humans too. But doing so, you model and demonstrate for them to own their behaviors, take responsibility for their actions, and make amends with the ones that they have wronged. This kind of example setting is one of the biggest gifts you can give a child because no doubt someday they will need to do the same. 6. Spread a little humor. The power of laughter is sometimes the best medicine. It can lighten a boring moment, turn a frown upside down, and change our tune, our attitudes, our minds. Just be conscientious on how you use humor in the classroom. Kids know when you're being silly and good-natured about your humor. Sarcasm is not humor. That can lead to the opposite of feeling safe in your classroom and can potentially put you in the hot seat with parents and administrators that you don't want to be in. 7. Make time to connect. Carving out a little time to connect is the most critical piece to building relationships with your students. Start with greetings. Nothing sets the stage for connecting with kids better than the simple act of greeting them each day. Greeting your students each day not only establishes connections, it gives your students the sense that today is a new day, a fresh start, a clean slate. Make it a daily ritual to look your students in the eye and greet them with a smile. After all, smiles are contagious and everyone likes to feel they belong. As well, don't be afraid to ask your students how they are. For some, you may be the only one that asks. Little actions like this can go a long way to building a classroom culture and climate that counts. Educators have also found that designating time for morning meetings or end-of-the-day recaps can also help build trust and set the tone for respectful learning. It's time well spent, especially for the younger grades and into middle school. It's an opportunity for your students to greet one another daily while connecting your students to being a part of your classroom culture and climate. It offers them a chance to participate in social-emotional learning, as well gives them an occasion to reinforce those academic skills in a less structured group setting. When you design your meetings to be rich and worthy of your efforts and your students' time, you'll be sure to reap the benefits.